Hello, I am LV Nidya Sari. In this video I will explain the meaning of sample. Sample is a part or subset taken from a larger population to be used as an object of research. In research, samples are used to describe the characteristics of the population as a whole. The selection of the right sample will reflect the conditions or characteristics of the population to be studied. Sampling is necessary in research for the following reasons. Efficiency. Researching the entire population usually takes a lot of time, effort, and money. By sampling, researchers can obtain representative information without having to collect data from the entire population. Limited resources. Sampling allows research to be conducted even when resources are limited, such as funds and time, so that researchers can still obtain valid and generalizable data. Practical. In many cases, collecting data from the entire population is impractical, both in terms of time and logistics. Sampling provides a more practical way to collect relevant data. Generalization. By selecting a representative sample, research results can be generalized to the entire population with a certain level of confidence. In quantitative research, there are two main categories of sample selection: probability sampling and non-probability sampling. Probability sampling. Probability sampling is a technique in which each element in the population has a known chance of being selected as a sample. Types of probability sampling include simple random sampling. Each element in the population has an equal chance of being selected as a sample. Systematic sampling. The sample is selected by randomly selecting the first element, then selecting the next element at fixed intervals. Stratified sampling. The population is divided into subgroups or strata that have similar characteristics, then samples are taken from each stratum at random. Cluster sampling. The population is divided into groups, clusters, then several clusters are selected at random, and the elements in the clusters are sampled. Non-probability sampling. Non-probability sampling is a technique in which elements in the population do not have a known chance of being selected for the sample. Types of non-probability sampling include purposive sampling. Researchers select samples based on certain considerations that are considered to provide information relevant to the study. Snowball sampling. This technique is used when the population is difficult to access. The first sample found will provide a reference for other elements, and so on, forming a snowball. Quota sampling. Researchers divide the population into groups, then select samples non-randomly until the specified quota is reached. Convenience sampling. Samples are taken based on ease of access, for example choosing subjects that are easy to find or available. Some criteria that must be considered in sampling are: representative. The sample must accurately reflect the characteristics of the population so that the research results can be generalized. Sample size. Sufficient sample size is important so that the results have a high level of confidence and valid results. Safety. In research involving experiments or interventions, it must be ensured that sampling is carried out in an ethical and safe manner. Proper selection. Samples must be selected using appropriate methods so that there is no bias that damages the research results. The basis for sampling in research can refer to several things. Research objectives. The research objectives will determine the type of sample needed, whether it needs to be representative, or a sample that can provide deeper insight into a particular phenomenon. Population characteristics. Researchers must understand the characteristics of the population, such as age, gender, profession, etc., to choose the right sampling technique. Statistical analysis method. The basis for selecting a sample also depends on the statistical analysis technique to be used. For example, more sophisticated sampling techniques are needed for more complex analyses. Budget and time. Practical factors, such as budget and time constraints, also influence the decision in choosing the most appropriate sampling technique. Thank you for watching.